What does it take to be an effective board member? Nobody wants another tragedy like Champlain Towers South. So with no special qualification other than having purchased a home in the association, how do you guarantee your association will be led well? To answer these questions, we invited management expert Julie Adaman, principal of Adaman Inc., a consulting and employment firm specializing in the management industry, to share from her years of experience. From her time as a manager and now a consultant serving associations all across the country, she brings wisdom and clarity to the table. And in just a few minutes, you'll be surprised how quickly you can learn the basic principles of effective board behavior and how you can apply them. Julie summarizes effective board behavior as the 4 C's, characteristics that any board member volunteers can be expected to embody. All a board member needs to do is be caring, curious, courageous, and communicate effectively. So, Julie, tell us what we need to know, what board members can take away, how we can create a better post-Surfside future.
Well, thanks, Robert, for having me today, and welcome to everyone. Thank you all for attending this. I see we've got a lot of board members, and I want to start out by saying I am a board member. I sit on 2 boards, and again, I don't know what I was thinking, but I am sitting on 2 boards. So I have run the gamut of all ends of it: manager, consultant, board member, all of it, and vendor. I'm a vendor as well. So there I am. I've got all the hats on. But I want to tell you that when I first heard about Champlain Towers, I was in the car driving back from central Washington. We were on a short vacation, and it hit me like a gut punch. And I'm sure, Robert, you felt the same way. I mean, it hit me like, and I haven't managed an association personally in quite a few years, but it could have been mine. All I was thinking of, oh my God, that could have been my board. That could have been my community, my building, and one of our own. I mean, it was one of the troops. That's how it felt.
That's my industry. It could have been a friend of mine.
Could have been a friend of mine. I could have been the manager. I could have been a board member there. I could have been a whole, it was just all a part of all of that together. So it was, for our whole industry, I think it's been a rather emotional and interesting, but a journey here. And as horrific as it is, there are things we can take away as an industry and take away as board members and managers from this process. Now, again, as Robert said, we don't know what really happened. I would suspect he's correct, that it was a confluence of events over a very long period of time that led to this catastrophic failure. But again, we don't know that yet. But what we do know is that the board at Champlain Towers, the last board, was the last board, I call it, they were the last one at musical chairs. They were the board left holding the bag of 40 years of decisions or no decisions that created the situation, the financial situation that this community found itself in. And if many of you, if you have not read the articles on it, there was a wonderful one in the Washington Post. This was not too long after it was the incident happened. New York Times, even the Atlantic, terrific articles in that. But the board president wrote a fantastic letter, multi-page letter to the homeowners back in March or April, right, Robert?
Correct.
March, April, to tell them what was going on. There was going to be a $15 million assessment over 136 units. So, and they pay by the square foot. I think the largest assessment was over 200 and the smallest one was about 100, something like that.
Yeah, something like that.
Depending on how big your unit was. But in anyone's estimation, if you were the board having to tell your owners that, you know what that was like. And that it was the most amazing, courageous thing that board did. They took that bull by the horns and they wrestled it to the ground as best they could. And it took quite a while. It wasn't, when the media got involved in this, all they could initially say was, oh my gosh, there's a building engineer's report from 2018. Why didn't they jump on it? Well, as all of you know out there, you're around the industry, board members, homeowners, managers, things take a long time. Now drop COVID in the middle of that. And we were shut down. Even in Florida, they were shut down, or it took a long time to get things going. So they went as fast as they could, considering the politics. At least that's the way I would view it, the politics and then the shutdown. And they were on their way to getting things happening, right? But that board had courage. And so I want to talk briefly about the 4 C's of, I would say, community management, or the 4 C's of what your responsibility as board members. Mine too. I'm on a board too. The first one is your duty of care. I mean, that means you have to care for what's going on, meaning the people, care for what's going on financially, and care for your role as a business person and a trustee on behalf of others. That's your duty of care.
Julie,
The next, yes, go.
what you're talking about here is just things that average people can do. We're not talking about developing a specialty.
No.
We're talking about, now you're a consultant, you're an expert, arguably, but we're talking about, I would just want to say average homeowners. They bought the home because they liked the floor plan. They liked it was close to their office. They liked it because of the view. We're just talking the characteristics of average homeowners who do turn into be board members.
Board members. Exactly. These are just regular people. Just, well, I don't know. You could be a lawyer or a doctor or whatever. That doesn't mean you know anything about HOA management. So you're all really just, everyone is just a normal person in this process, thrust in with 5 or 6 or 7 other people, and all your personalities working together with all your differing experiences. And you are on this board and you are charged with these things. So there's care. The next one is, and I think this is often one we don't think about, but it's curiosity. I mean, you can't have blinders. You can't, be a board member like this. I don't want to hear about it. I don't want to see it. You can't do this. You have to have curiosity about what's going on. I mean, I think, Robert, you had said, and I had read this as well, but there were cracks that were probably evident at that particular community for years, would you say? I
would say years. The size of those cracks, they must have been there for many years. And the curiosity is like, how come we have cracks and how come there's no cracks at the grocery store? How come there's no cracks at the bank or at my church?
Right.
Should we care? Is this significant?
Yes, exactly.
Exactly what you're talking about.
It's exactly right. So you have to have, this is part of your duty as a board member. You have to have that curiosity. If you don't live in a high-rise condominium, but you live in an HOA that, you've got a lot of greenbelt lawn area and all the lawn's brown and the sprinklers are on, well, there's a problem. So you would not let that slide. Just like, whether it is highly visible or whether maybe just a few board members know something's wrong, it's your duty to find out what is wrong and what can be fixed or what should be done with it.
Yeah. And if you don't know, then you ask the question.
You got to find Robert. You told a great story about your grocery store and the Xeriscape. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I live in Southern California, and so we're sensitive to water. And there was a new grocery store that went in close to our home, and they had some nice low water required vegetation that they put in. Looked great. And I checked with my board, and they had already found out, they had asked their landscaper that due to the tree coverage that we have and due to the soil that we have, that greenscape would not work at our association. And they had the curiosity. They asked because they didn't know. They saw something that they liked, and they got an answer because, I didn't know the answer. I thought, gee, that looks nice. But they asked the question, they got an answer. And maybe it would have been nice to communicate that in the newsletter, but at least they showed that they cared.
I agree. They cared, they had the curiosity, and they actually sought out the answer from, I believe, your landscape contractor,
correct,
who would actually be your on-site expert. Right. So another thing, folks, don't forget, you have a whole bevy of experts that work for you. The next I want to talk about is courage. Now, I want to tell you, this board at Champlain Towers, the last board standing at Musical Chairs, they had courage. They are the ones who said, we are going to make this happen. We are going to tell everyone what is going on. We have no choice as a community but to do this. Now, I want to tell you, unless you have managed or been a board member or lived in a high-rise situation, it's a little different from any other community, including just regular condominiums, patio homes, or even maybe, a place that could be a walk-up, a 2-story, something like that, because everyone has the same front door. It makes a different dynamic than if you're living in a regular condominium complex and you can drive off to your own driveway, right? So if you're a board member and you are telling your unit owners that there is going to be a $15 million special assessment, and you guys can all, I can feel it, frankly, through the Zoom. Everyone's going, oh my God, that'd be horrible. But you have to ride up the elevator with people who despise you, because instantaneously, some of those people will have negative equity in their home, which is arguably the biggest investment and wealth creator we typically have as Americans is your home, right? That $100,000 that I'm going to have to pay, I was going to put my kid through college with that. I mean, it just horrific, the courage it took these people to do. And if you have not had a chance to read the board president's letter, again, someone can email me. I can certainly send them a link to it. It is stunning and outstanding, which brings me to our last C. It is communication. And I think I would say the biggest problem in almost all community associations is a lack of consistent, cogent, and positive communication about what is going on. Now, I know somebody in the last session, we did one right before this, asked about, well, are minutes a good thing to send out? Shouldn't that be the communication from the board to owners? And absolutely not. The minutes only take, it's call to order, quorum, and motions approved. It's not discussion. It's not the background. It's not telling people the details. And I want to tell all you board members out there, if you are trying to get anything big done or even midway done in your community, if you have had a consistent communication strategy, a newsletter, an e-blast, whatever it is, that goes to all your owners regularly, once a month or so, to keep them informed about what's going on, the difference in getting things accomplished with the least amount of pain is night and day. Wouldn't you think so, Robert?
Absolutely. It's one thing to just report the facts. It's another thing to help guide the association, because at too many associations, you have differing factions. You have the homeowners and you have the board. And when the board communicates and is transparent and is saying the facts of the matter are insurance has gone up, the water bill has gone up, the power has gone up, the management contract has gone up, the pool service company has gone up. We have to raise our assessments. You need to be transparent about that. You need to make sure that the homeowners are not thinking, oh, that crazy board is doing something weird. Get in front of it, outline it, be proactive. That's something that you can do in a newsletter. You can do that in posting on the lobby. Get excited. Next year, we're getting new lobby furniture. Thank you for your reserve contributions. Thank you, things like that you can do to be proactive and get people on board, and helping them understand that we live in an environment where the board is helping the association maintain its status in the community. And it takes money.
It does take money. And, as you and I talked about this before, is that, when a board is faced with something like Champlain Towers was faced with, I mean, there was a community that had virtually zero reserves. I think they had about $700,000, 200,000 of which they had that set aside for insurance deductible or premium, one of the two.
I believe that's correct. Yes.
Yeah. So they really had about 500,000 for a 40-year-old high rise. So, and that just tells you that over the years, they were not raising assessments up enough to create any kind of savings account. And a thing that all boards need to understand, and we say this professionally all the time, is that it's much easier to get a 3% increase or a cost of living increase or the CPI index increase every year than to slam everybody with a $100 increase or a big fat special assessment all at once. And the thing about it, as board members, it's our job as board members not to just think about today. I mean, obviously, I just have to deal with my people today. But I'm really thinking about, and all board members should think about, the board members in the future and the community in the future. Our job is to preserve, protect, maintain, and enhance the communities, not just for today, but for the future as well.
Yeah, it's not a matter of just hanging on. And the kind of things you're talking about is combining these things together, where you have the courage to say that we live in an inflationary economic environment. We need to raise the monthly assessments a little bit this year. And doing that little bit of courage on an annual basis is going to be a lot less courageous than if you have to say, whoops, 5 years down the road and say, we need a 27% increase.
Yes. Because
we did these, we wouldn't say it, we foolishly were pretending that inflation was going around our association. And so it's a matter of looking at what are the true costs of ownership at our association.
And don't forget, our duty as board members is to, and as managers, it's our duty to guide board members in this direction, but is that our duty is not to keep assessments flat. In fact, I would argue, quite forcefully, and I would be correct, that it's your fiduciary duty not to do that. It's your fiduciary duty to look after the financial health of the community. And associations, Robert, you gave a great stat earlier, associations that have funded reserves, how much are the homes worth more? The units are worth more?
At associations with a strong reserve fund, the homes are worth 12.6% more. And that just shows the reality of curb appeal. When you have the reserves on hand to do the projects on time, the lobby gets remodeled, the entry gate gets fixed in a timely manner, paint on the building, the roof gets replaced in a timely manner, the cooler, the chiller, the boiler, all those things ending up, I get excited here, end up doing some great things for home values. And so if you're talking about $600,000, $700,000 homes like they were at Champlain Tower South, even a 10% boost in home values is 60 or 70 grand.
Yes.
And when you are setting aside $20 a month more, $50 a month more in your monthly assessments, that is small compared to the payback in home values.
And happy homeowners. Because I will tell you, as all you board members know, as Robert and I know, being in the industry for so long, when things are well maintained and they don't just kind of peter out and look kind of crummy, when the mailboxes get replaced and with something new and great that doesn't leak, we just did that at the community I'm a board member on, and they're all uniform, they look terrific, people love it. And when it started happening, we knew we had to do it. We got a plan and we replaced all of them, the big, the communal mailboxes. And, when things like that happen, people believe the board is tuned, and they're correct. The board is tuned to the needs of the community. So that happens. If we need to redo anything or repaint, the common area garages, when that gets done, people go, oh, the board's doing something. That's right.
Yeah, that's what's happening with my money.
That's exactly correct. That's happening with my money. And that, and again, what do we deal with? People's living arrangements and their cash. It's like being married to them. You're like married to all your homeowners association. It's a relationship. But it is exactly right. People they may grumble about the little increases, but I will tell you that overall, over a period of time as board members, you will hear a lot less griping. I was going to say a lot more kudos, but maybe I'll just say a lot less griping when things look good, are taken care of. People feel like they are and their concerns are being cared about. And that's what they really want. So, what's the saying? People don't know, they don't care how much you know till they know how much you care.
Yeah. If they're doing the right thing. Right. Yeah. Doing the right thing.
Doing the right thing, correct.
At Association Reserves, we make the present less stressful and the future more secure. If you want to join us in this mission, please like this video and subscribe to our channel. Leave a comment down below on what you would like to see us address in a future video. Let's plan for your best future.